Hi, everybody. This is Tom Grisak. I'm here with a special guest. This is Mayor Henry Lessner, Mayor of Fairview.
Hello, Tom. Good to be with you today.
Thank you for taking time with us. First of all, I want to congratulate you on your win as mayor.
Thank you very much.
And I know are you probably settled in by now?
I think so. I have a bit of experience. I have 8 years on the council prior to doing this, so this is just kind of moving it up to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Do you tell us what you were doing? What's your main job? We were talking a little bit about that earlier.
My main job, my paying job?
Yeah, your paying job.
Okay, my paying job. I am a wealth manager. I own my own company down in Allen. It's called Wealth Management Group. We've been together since 2005, and we help people manage their money, investments, wealth management, making sure they get their estate plans done and things like that.
Sure. And you were also telling me about some of the work you do for your church.
I'm very involved in the United Methodist Church. I'm on the board of ordained ministry. That is the group that decides whether or not someone gets to be a pastor or not. It's a big responsibility. And then I also serve and have served, not currently, but as an elected delegate from the North Texas Conference for General Conference. General Conference is the legislative lawmaking body for the United Methodist Church. We meet every 4 years. We had a special meeting just this past February up in St. Louis for a special reason. But so I am real active in the United Methodist Church.
You stay busy.
I like to be busy. That's what I like to do.
And what promoted you, or what prompted you to become Mayor of Fairview? What was your reasoning behind that?
Being a longtime resident of Fairview, I've lived here 29 years. I've been active in things going on in the town almost since I got here. And after serving 8 years on the council, I served on the council when Sim Israeloff was mayor, and then when Darian was mayor, Darian Culbertson. Being a great admirer of both of those men, it seemed like I was the one with the experience and the knowledge and the right,
combination
knowledge
right.
and stuff that needs things that need to be done in this town. So
right,
I like to follow, keep the successes that they've had, keep it going.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be asking you some questions about Fairview. Some of the rumors I've heard, and then also some of the things that have actually been highly publicized here lately. These are exciting times for Fairview. Let me start with the center right next to us. By the way, we're in the beautiful Fairview Town municipal offices. Town Hall. It's a 4-story, beautiful stone building. Every time I drive by it, I think it's pretty amazing for a town with 10,000 people was that roughly 10,000, would you say?
We will probably hit 10,000 or so at the next census next year.
To have their own 4-story building, municipal office, plus this beautiful retail center behind us, and that's kind of where I'm going to start off on. They've had some trouble leasing those spaces in back, and I know Lincoln came in and they've committed to. How are they following through on all the things that they've said they do?
So first, let me address how the town hall got here. When the center was first established, with Herring being the operator, developer, and Prudential being the owner, one of the pieces of that deal was that the town got free land. So where our town hall is sitting was donated to the town. So that's kind of a big deal.
I didn't realize that.
So the town hall was built 4 stories. 3 of them are fully occupied. We also have a basement, by the way, which is where all the police cars are sold, where they're all stored. And but first floor is public. Our water and utility bills and stuff are paid. Our finance people are down there. The municipal court is down there. The council chambers are down there. And then you go to the second floor, we have our IT and police. That is a secure floor. You just can't get there. I don't even have a pass to get there, which I don't want. Third floor is currently used as storage and will be used long-term for growth. And then the 4th floor is where the administrative offices are up here. So anyway, they were having trouble. The village of Allen, as it started, got off to kind of a rough start. Opened in, I think, 2007. And we know what happened in 2008, 2009. Right. The country went into a massive recession. It was very difficult for those stores and retail, especially in those areas, to survive. So fast forward to about 2 years ago, Lincoln Properties, Prudential wanted to get out. Lincoln Properties bought it. Lincoln Properties is one of the premier developers,
Right.
operators here in the Dallas area. They're actually U.S. wide, but they are certainly big in the Dallas area. They've done a great job. They've really kind of reset what they want to do with some of the areas. The area, if you go in there right now, up on the east side, the side more towards Town
Right.
Hall,
Mm-hmm.
they're focusing on like entertainment kind of things. So there's some restaurants in there. There's the new children's play area, the new bowling alleys in there. We have the event center that's there. There's also, by the way, I'll pre-announce, we're working to get a brewery in here.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So that's a big deal. I'm looking forward to that. There's a wine destination wine bars in there. You can go in and have some really nice wine conversation. The Fairview Youth Theater is in that area, which I'm real proud to say. I have a granddaughter that's very, very active there. And then you start moving towards the center. They've completely redone that area. They tore down a bunch of stuff, built the event plaza that's there.
They added another entrance to the back too.
And then on the north or the south side, they took down some things to open up that space a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something at the event center literally almost every day, certainly every Friday, Saturday. Things for kids during the day, things for adults at night. Bands and stuff are there, so they've really done a good job.
I
of
didn't know
scheduling.
that. I didn't realize. They
Oh my
had that.
gosh, yeah. I mean, literally every Friday and Saturday night.
How do you get that word out?
You're going to get it. You need to get on their website. I'll tell it. I wish I knew it off the top of my head. It's fairviewtowncenter.org, I believe.
Okay. I had no idea.
But you can go and look at that, and there's a schedule of everything that's going on.
Right.
So other things they've done, they have again, moving west towards Dillard's. There's another couple of good restaurants. One of my favorite ones is AKA, which is a hibachi sushi place. I'm not a sushi guy, but I sure like the hibachi.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go down a little bit further, there is Venture X, which is a co-working space on the south side. They've leased 20,000 square feet there, and they're going to open up probably January or so.
What do they do?
It is a place where people who work out of their homes or
Oh, that's right.
it's
Kind of like an
shared work-
executive suite.
kind of
in a way.
executive
That's
suite,
right. Someone
kind
told
of.
me about that.
So that's in there. The other thing, again, not getting ahead of myself, but back where Overture is, where the two hotels are. The hotels, by the way, are doing exceedingly well.
Mm-hmm.
Overture's doing well, and then across the street between Overture and the Boy Scout, Lincoln Properties is going to build two, or it's actually one, 100,000 square foot office building there.
Wow. And when are they going to kick that off?
They've got the construction trailer there now. They're starting to put some fill dirt in there, and they have it'll be two-story buildings, 50,000 square feet, connected by a big fancy covered atrium in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That'll look real nice.
So they're going to try to beat Lucy Billingsley out of the box to get some big...
Well, one of the big deals up in this area, I remember when I was moving, we moved our offices up in Allen in 2011, trying to find Class A office space.
Mhm.
There isn't any.
Right.
And as you go down into Allen, down where my offices are, they just built two new
Right.
buildings. They're completely leased.
Mhm.
And then you go up 75 into McKinney. There's one that's been there for a long time, and it's hard to see where it is. So
I wouldn't call that Class A either, the one in McKinney.
where the chamber is, yeah, it's nice. It's just really hard to see.
Yeah, yeah.
But we need some Class A office space here. The Dallas North Toll Road is getting all that business, and we deserve some of that. So
Right.
hopefully some of that happens with, as you mentioned, with Billingsley. So anyway,
And we'll talk about that in just
yeah.
a second, because that's been big news.
Yeah, but Lincoln has done a really good job. They're really good to work with. They're very open. They want to do new things. They work really well with the town and the town staff.
Okay.
Really pleased.
Now, let me ask you about your by the way, this is all considered part of McKinney ISD, so
That
this
is correct.
tax money does not go to Lovejoy, it goes to McKinney ISD.
That is correct.
But I had someone the other day tell me that when this deal was made with the town center, that the town of Fairview got no tax money off it. That can't be right. So I actually asked the former mayor, I said, what is the deal on tax money? And he said, I think there's a guarantee of $1 million a year.
When they came in, if you think about Fairview, this started in about 2004. I don't know exactly what our budget was back then, but it wasn't much.
Mm-hmm.
So typically a town provides infrastructure for their developments, and then we get reimbursed through impact fees and stuff like that. Well, to build the infrastructure for the Fairview Town, or what was the Village of Allen, Harrington then put about $48 million into that. I mean, there's no way our town could afford to do that.
Right.
So what the town worked out a deal with them, it's called a 380 agreement. And 380 is just, it's like 1040 for IRS or 401k. It's just an it's a number related to what this is called. But the 380 agreement is struck that they put the money in and we will pay them back some of their costs over a period of time. And it was, I think 20 years, if I remember correctly. We still have 14 years to go on it. And so out of that, though, the town is guaranteed $1 million a year.
That's okay.
So we get $1 million a year. And, you know, again, we're a $9.2 million budget from our general fund. So it's a pretty significant chunk of that. Out of that, we also get the hotel motel taxes. We keep that. If there's any beverage taxes for the alcoholic beverages, we keep that.
Okay.
And then there's been some changes, negotiations with them over time, especially since Lincoln's here. 24-hour fitness is out of the 380 agreement. The new racetrack gas station is out of the 380 agreement. And the town will get all the tax dollars, property and sales tax associated with that.
Okay.
So anyway, that's we get
it is
we
very
do
lucrative
get we do get tax money out of this.
And
again, at the end of 14 years, we get it all.
Yeah. What's the the restaurant that went out? It was Texas Land and Cattle.
Texas Land and Cattle.
Who's taking their place?
That has been gone. I was sorry to see that go, but there's a family-friendly sports bar, I'm told. It's called Boomer Jack's.
Okay.
And Boomer Jack's, the only one I know of around here is in Murphy, of all places. And they are extremely successful over here. And if you drive by there, you can see they're making significant changes to that building. You wouldn't recognize it now. There's a big outdoor space as well they're putting on there. So I don't have a good date for you when they're going to open. There's a lot of work going on, though. I can tell you that.
Okay. Now, just north of here, this tract, it was owned by the Pete Fishes. I don't know if I met the Pete Fishes 30 years ago, and I remember Mr. and Mrs. Pete Fish lived in a probably 1,000 square foot brick home in the middle of 100 acres, right where the Allen, what's the Allen high-end mall called? Allen Premium Outlets.
Oh, the Premium Outlets.
Yeah.
Okay.
I called them an outlet mall one time, and one of their reps called me up and said, please call it Premium Outlet. So I've got to make sure to call it Premium Outlet. But anyway, they owned that property, which they sold, and they've been hanging onto this property for the right time. So apparently now is the right time.
The Pete Fish family is very patient and want to do the right thing. So they have had other offers where they might have been able to make more money more faster, but they wanted to do it well. So the Pete Fish family has been in discussions with the town of Fairview for a long time. I can't tell you when, but generation maybe. And so they've got an offer that financially works for them, and also the quality is going to be there. And it's the Billingsley's company is going to partner with them to develop that property. It's 242 acres. It is not quite down to Ridgeview, but just north of there, going up 75 on the access road up to where the hospitals are, basically, over to Highway 5, that big tract of land in there.
Are they taking Ridgeview through? Are they going to do improvements on that bridge, or what's the plan there?
Ridgeview, if you go across Allen, Ridgeview goes all the way over to the street next to the mall, to the Premium Outlet Mall. And then Allen has it budgeted and designed to go all the way north of the funeral home to connect to the intersection at Ridgeview. That is designed.
Okay.
So I think that you may see some activity there next year. My friends in Allen tell me that.
Right.
The intersection at 75 and Ridgeview will be completely redone by TxDOT. It will look like the El Dorado overpass up in McKinney or the Parker Road overpass down in Plano.
Okay.
It will be a major intersection.
Wow.
They're also a little bit
And when
more.
Is that planned? Any ideas?
TxDOT says they're going to start in 2020.
This whole area is going to be so different.
There are so many road projects happening. I sometimes say I feel like we're being squeezed by road projects, but there are a lot of road projects. They're also looking. One of the nice things about the Ridgeview overpass, at one point Allen, Fairview, and TxDOT were going to fund that, but now TxDOT's going to do the whole thing, and it would have been a chunk of money for us. And the reason being is they're going to expand 75. They're going to add another lane going north and south on 75. So because of that, they decided, and because of the magnitude of the intersection, they're going to do the work all themselves.
Okay.
So I met with them 3 weeks ago, and they were telling me 2020 was when they've designed.
Okay.
So whether it's funded or not, that's TxDOT's problem. Whether or not they get the money from Austin.
Explain to the people that some people may live out here and don't understand why, and other people may say, why did you take Stacy Road and make it improve it and widen it, and it goes into a dead end? Why don't you just take it through that easement right there? Explain that.
So I've been here for 29 years, and one of the first things I heard about was the McKinney Loop. Mm-hmm. And the McKinney Loop was on McKinney and the county's plans, and that would be a loop that would basically come from US 380, come down past the McKinney Airport, come down County Road 317, go on what we call East Stacy, go on to Stacy. Stacy goes all the way up to where Custer would intersect with it, and then go north of there. And that was the loop around McKinney. So if Fairview has since I've been here, pretty much been totally against allowing that to happen. It would totally change the character of our town. Sure. We're talking a couple hundred vehicles a day going through there, so we would just be surrounded by traffic all the time. So the two things about that. First of all, behind the Friendship Baptist Church, there is property that is there that the county owns that would connect Stacy to East Stacy. The good news is that the county, our friends Chris Hill, Daryl Hill, who now represents us, have said they won't do anything unless we want them to. And I'll just say I know one person in town who wants that to happen. Okay.
Yeah. Could that be forced on the town at some time?
I don't think they would do that. It's just politically it would be suicide for them to do that, and they won't do it. So I'll tell you what we did under our previous mayor, Darian Culberson, when he first became mayor. One of the things he tried to do is buy that back. And we ran into a problem with the county having a fiduciary duty to sell it at market price, and the town having a fiduciary duty to buy it at market price, and the prices could never come together. Right. So we have tried, and maybe we'll try again in a couple of years and see if we can match those up a little bit more. My vision for that is, again, the county owns it, so we don't do anything with it, but I would love to see that, some sort of open space, a wildflower thing or something like that. I've said before, have Lovejoy involved in that in some manner with the kids, and plant wildflowers, enjoy that every year. But right now the county owns it, and but they're not going to do anything unless we agree.
So if you ever wonder why you've got Stacy Road, which had a major renovation to it, dead ends into a 2-lane country club, that's why. And I'd also heard years ago that Heritage Ranch was there with kind of a blocking action to keep the loop from coming through. Do you know that?
I would. The town has done some things in the past that have been defensive in nature. And this is hearsay, my understanding. I wasn't involved in it. But Heritage Ranch was there partly to, the objectives have been to block the airport expansion.
Oh, okay.
So Heritage Ranch, if you go out there, the runway, the concrete runway now, goes right down to Second Fairview at Heritage Ranch.
Right.
So there's that, and then the town also, if you've read some of the things I've written, 83 acres, we own 83 acres in McKinney, right at the south end of that runway. We also own the Fairview Soccer Complex, which is a little bit east of there. That's 75 acres. So all of that was done a number of years ago by a previous council, and they did it in a defensive manner. So we're kind of trying to work the 83 acres right now because McKinney wants to extend the runway 1,500 feet south.
Oh my gosh!
Which everything gets closer and closer to us.
And allows bigger jets too.
Well, it could, but their purpose in doing this is because they have 2 corporate jets out there that are Gulfstream 5s, and the companies that own them, you can guess who that might be, but they want to fly directly to China and directly to Japan, and they can't take off with a full load of fuel and get all the way over there with the length of the runway. So what I've working with the mayor of McKinney and TxDOT and the county, we have now kind of come to a agreement. We'll see how it all ends up. But they're going to extend, instead of 1,500 feet south, they're going to go 1,000 feet north 500 feet south. And the deal, what do we give up to get that? McKinney wants to build the road 546 that runs south of the runway. They want that to be a much bigger road, as does the county, and there's a good reason for it, because south of Princeton there's 20,000 homes.
Yeah, that gets a lot of traffic. I'm noticing more traffic on that road whenever.
So that
I
traffic would be coming through Stacy Road, by the way, if we had to loop around McKinney.
Right.
So the other thing about that is, so if we go 1,000 feet north on the airport, the small planes that do touch and goes out of there, which most of them originate, by the way, in Addison Airport, they can't do them in Addison Airport because of the jets.
Is that right?
And by the way, McKinney,
so they fly up here to do
so
their
they fly over here to do touch and goes.
Darn.
So if you move 1,000 feet north, that moves those little planes 1,000 feet further away.
Right.
And I was in the tower a couple of weeks ago, and you stand there and watch. They would be most of their airtime is going to be right over the airport, so they won't be coming down into Heritage Ranch airspace, so to speak. The jets are going to be there no matter what, and McKinney's plan is to have more corporate jets.
Right. Absolutely.
And it just
there was a lot of friction between McKinney and Fairview for many years over this airport, and I understand that's softened a lot. There's still, they both have their desires and wishes, but it's not as, is it acrimonious? Is that the word? It's not as.
I would say that our antennas are up really, really high to see what's going on there. The thing, this is a personal experience, when I went up there, I think I was on the council at the time, might be my first year or so, but when they first inaugurated the concrete runway up there, when we moved here, it was a 2-lane little blacktop runway. When they put the concrete runway up there, I went and the celebration they had. So I saw everyone on the stage celebrating, from a United States Senator, United States Representative, all our state officials, all the counties, all the county officials, all the mayors from major towns. And so I was thinking, here we are, a little Fairview, and we're trying to, the economic and political power there, we're not going to be able to beat this. So the thing to do is get involved in it. So under our previous mayor, and even before that, we've had a representative on the airport board. Paul Hendricks did that for a while. We will. Ken Logston's going to be our representative now, council person. And it's just a matter of working with them, trying to figure out. We're not gonna make it go away. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
FAA wants it to be. I think, though, the good news is that it's not going to end up. At one point they wanted it to be another love field and all. I don't think that's going to happen. From the conversations I've had, that's going to be up in Sherman most likely.
That's kind of like Fairview. Growth is coming in so fast to Fairview, you can't just stop it. And in Lucas, there's a group that really, they kind of want to stick their head in the sand, and they want to block everything coming into Lucas. Lucas is right next to Fairview, just to the south, and you can't do that. And if you know it's coming in, you've just got to make the development come in responsibly, and you've got to have some say in it and some control. So Fairview's done a fantastic job, I think, and everything that they've done. I'm so impressed with their.
Well, it's really hard, because as somebody who's been here for 29 years, and I have great sympathy for those folks who want to lock the door and be the last one in, so to speak. And when I moved here, there was 800 people here. Stacy Road had just been paved for the first time.
Wow.
So I liked it here. That's why I moved here, is for that. But like you say,
you can't stop growth.
There's private property rights. We are very conservative. We used to say we're the reddest of the red counties, and private property is a big part of the conservative mindset. And you can't tell people they can't develop. So you got to do things right. So the best thing to do is plan and have designs and our zoning right. Our friends in Lucas are experiencing even more of this than we are, because there's a lot more growth down there.
Well, Fairview's almost developed out. There's not that much left to develop.
And it's getting so expensive. I mean,
$250,000
an acre, $400,000 for 2 acres. You know better than me. It's really expensive to build here.
You can't find a lot in a high-end development in Fairview for under about $425,000, $450,000, and there aren't a lot of large tracts left. There may be 2 or 3 left I could name off within Lovejoy, which is the big draw for this area.
Right.
So, it's just you guys are feeling that growth coming through, but you've done it responsibly, which is so commendable.
Well, that's good words for our previous councils and stuff. They've done this. They've set it all up. So.
One other question about the airport. There was a time where they were talking about making sure those jets took off over the lake as they would veer off to the east. Are they required to do that?
They are asked to do some things like that.
Okay.
The problem is with the jets, as they're taking off, they're up and gone.
Right.
It's really with the prop planes and stuff like that we're asked that. And again, if we can move the runway 1,000 feet further north,
Right.
Those kind of things help better stop the touch and goes. But one thing that to understand about is the McKinney owns and operates the airport.
Mm-hmm.
The FAA controls the airspace.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really not McKinney, it's FAA.
Mm.
And the FAA is the one that dictates when they take off, how they take off, what level they get to. What I learned when I was out there is one of the things they're told when they take off, they are to get to be between 2,000 and 3,000 feet as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're on a hot day, it takes planes a little longer to get
Right.
there. If you have a heavy load, it takes planes a little longer to get there. So which is why some of them venture into our space.
Right.
But one of the things I'm going to do, and talking with the FAA gentleman, the manager out there for the tower, is they go and do talks with the flying groups out of Addison Airport.
Mm.
And I'm going to go with him one day, just again to try to sensitize them to, we live in a country area. We don't like to have airplanes flying over us
Right.
all the time. We understand it's going to happen,
Right.
but please do what you can.
Right.
Get to altitude as fast as you can, or as you say, move off to the east as quickly as you possibly can.
Well, you were here when the McKinney landfill was. That
was
was the big topic.
That was my first political thing that I got involved in, walking around the neighborhoods and trying to get people petitions for that. So yes,
and that's all covered up and gone now. So that's no longer an issue.
there's a freeway going to be over it. So.
Yeah. And how do you, Lucas and Fairview, because they touch each other, they have similar interests in the same school district. How much interaction do you and Lucas have together?
There's a good bit now. We've always had a good relationship with them. Jim Malk is the mayor in Lucas. I
Right.
meet with Jim every once in a while. I've been down there to when they've had their celebrations and
Right.
stuff like that. I go down there to visit with people. I know 3 of the council people down there pretty well. So we do try to keep in touch with each other.
Yeah.
Jim and I have been out to the airport together because there's some people in Lucas complaining about airport noise.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked to TxDOT and issues like that. Lucas is going to be significantly impacted by some of the road things.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the road, Country Club, any plans for that being widened?
As it stands right this moment, no. It's on the books as a widened road.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fairview has said we don't want you to do it, they have other places to spend their money.
Mm-hmm.
What I would personally like to see is, and we've talked about this. One of the things Fairview don't own that. Own the 1378 Country Club or Highway 5 or Stacy,
Mm-hmm.
even for that matter. So any road that has an FM designator is a road that TxDOT controls.
Okay.
So we have input as to what happens, but they are the ones who make the final decisions. But as we talked briefly, TxDOT has lots of projects and they need lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
And if a municipality says, no, I'm not interested in doing that, then they kind of move on to the next thing.
Right.
So TxDOT did a favor for me. It took 3.5 years to get it, but they did put the left-hand turn lane there as you're going south on Country Club and go on East Stacy. They put a left-hand turn lane there, and they also put one the other way. So that was, and unfortunately, they don't tell us when they're going to show up and do these things. Unfortunately, but the good news is they did it before school started.
Right.
So what I'd like to see though is between Lovejoy Elementary School and Sloan Creek Intermediate School, add a 3rd lane in there.
Mm-hmm.
Not 4 lanes, not 6 lanes like they want to do, but have a 3rd lane in there, a turning lane that could be used at various times during the day to help alleviate some of the school traffic.
Right.
We as the town have talked about doing that ourselves, but it's a pretty big penny for Fairview to handle.
Okay.
So right now there's nothing on the books to do any construction there.
Okay. What would you be your top 3 things you want to get accomplished while you're mayor?
Number 1 is to get the east side water system expansion finished. We've had
explain that.
We've had over off Country Club as you go north of Sloan Creek Intermediate School there, right across from Montecito Estates.
Right.
There is our old above ground water and pumping station there, and that's where we interconnect with North Texas Municipal Water District.
Okay.
So that's the east side of town. The west side of town, we have had 2 water breaks this year, one in February and one in August, I believe it was. And both times we've had to, luckily the way the system is designed, it's in a big loop. So we've had to shut down the west side water system, which is the bigger of the two, by the way, and everybody work off the east side. So thank goodness we didn't have a fire, we weren't in some sort of major drought, and our residents also really help us out because they stopped using so much water.
How long did that last?
The first one we had, we were out for almost 3 days. We actually had to issue a boil notice, which, if you're an elected official, you don't ever want to do that. And but we had to issue a boil notice, and what you have to do a boil notice if the pressure in the water mains get below a certain point, because what could happen is instead of the water pushing out, it can actually suck things in. So therefore, you don't want stuff coming into your municipal water system. So that was a major one. That all the water came down out of our tower over there by Fire Station 1. Big deal. So the same extension of that pipe that broke again. And that time, fortunately, we were able to stop it. So the main above ground water tank didn't drain, and it took them about 24 hours to fix that. Our public works guys are just fabulous, and they did such a good job getting us back into service. We did learn that the pipe that connects us, North Texas Municipal Water District, and our water system over there actually needs to be replaced. When it was installed over 20 years ago, it wasn't installed correctly. The foundation and stuff underneath it is rock, and it needs to be pebbles or sand, because every time water goes through there's a slight vibration, and it caused it to crack. So that'd be something that'd be a priority for me next fiscal year. We need
So
to fix
what are
that.
they doing right there at the ground level?
So what they're doing over on the east side, and if you go by there now, there's a much larger water tank, not the tall storage, but above ground water storage. We're putting in much larger pumps. The capacity is something, I'm going to write about this in my next mayor's message, but the capacity is like 10 times more. The interconnect with North Texas Municipal Water District is expanding, so we will have significant water capability there. So if we have the west side goes down, the east side will easily be able to take care of it. The other side, if the east side goes down, the west side could take care of it.
Right.
So we're going to have a fully redundant water system, so that's my number one thing. We've got basic municipal services. Number two would be to rebuild our fire station. There's been a lot of controversy about that over the years.
That's been a hot button.
And it's been a hot button. Unfortunately, the voters last year voted 70-30 to go ahead with the rebuild of that, kind of a reduced project and just do the fire station. And where that stands right now is it's under detailed design by the engineers and architects. Our fire folks are looking at that. And I expect that we're going to see, the council will see something maybe by the end of the year. I'm hoping by the end of the year. Once we see that, then we will do like we said we would do. We would go out and bid the components of that. It will take, we're talking third quarter 2021 before that's done. So, by the way, the water thing is supposed to be done in about a year. So that's moving along quite well. So the fire station will be the second thing. The third thing is I mean, you got the Billingsley and all that kind of stuff that's up there, which is something we need to do, make sure it's done right. But one of the things that I've worked on in this town for quite a long time is trying to figure out how to better communicate with people. People have tried this, I've tried different things, and it's really hard that we don't have the town doesn't do social media by design. The municipality town, I do things on social media. People see me out there, but
okay. So we talked about, now how about roads? I remember Mayor Klobuchar was talking about his goal was to get all the roads not reworked, but are there any roads in Fairview that need that have issues right now that you guys are focused on?
One of the things that Darian did while he was the mayor was we went out and redid all of or almost all, I think maybe all of the asphalt streets in town.
Yeah.
We did that, and that's done. We've actually had one that had to do a little rework over on the horse streets, but that's pretty much done. We have extended East Stacy all the way over to County Road 317. That's been done. By the way, with water drainage, underground water drainage for that curb and gutter, as they call it, there's some work we've done to improve the intersection of County Road 317. So those are things that have been done by the town. There are things that are happening, as we said, all around us that are TxDOT initiatives up south of the airport, over on 75. There's roads that need to go out into Princeton that are going to affect us and Lucas. So there's a lot of that. But as far as other roads, they've redid Highway 5, Greenville. I try to call it Greenville when I'm talking to TxDOT now, trying to get them in their mind that this is just another city street.
It's not Highway 5, it's Greenville.
It's Greenville. Thank you very much. And I hope everybody listening to this will do that. So one of the big deals I've spent considerable time on is speed limits, trying to lower them. And I know there are people who get upset when they hear that, but I think we have way too high speed limits in town. I'm trying to get TxDOT to think, and they're not going to, and I'll tell you why in a minute, but I'm trying to get them to think about, Highway 5 is, Greenville is no different than Greenville and Allen. So you got Greenville, 6-lane divided coming up out of Allen at 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. You cross Stacy Road going to Fairview, and the speed limit goes up to 55.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. And then, fortunately, as you get down to the drop and the curve, the S curve there, as you get closer to 1378, you get the speed limit goes down because it's not safe. But we need to have more consistent speed limits in there. I'd like to see the speed limit on Country Club. It's 50. I'd like to see that lowered to 45. I mean, there's multiple signs along there that say 40. So why is the speed limit 50?
So if you guys get a ticket, that's the guy that...
I want to see it go down because it's not safe. Plus the fact that, as you say, we're growing. There are more neighborhoods along these roads. The schools are growing. There's a lot more people. One thing people in Fairview worry about every time we're going to do a development, they say, oh, more cars, more cars. The traffic problems that we have are not originating in terminations in Fairview. It's people driving through our town, which is one of the great things that, again, in the past, that we've been able to kind of make traffic go around our town, through 1378, we got, and then Highway 5 and stuff, but the core of our town is not crisscrossed by major roads. And that's a good thing. So we want to lower speed limits, figure out other ways. That's what Fairview Parkway over here will do for Greenville. We will divert, hopefully.
And by the way, Fairview Parkway actually comes through the, you might describe it, it kind of diverges away from Greenville. Right.
So as you come north on Greenville, you go up Greenville, Highway 5 through Fairview. But you see a dead end road over there towards Town Hall that runs up towards Ridgeview. That's Fairview Parkway. Our long term plan is to extend that all the way up to Medical City Drive in McKinney. So let me talk about a little bit how all that's happening, because there is one thing that is going to happen that we are going to have to pay for. Frisco Road. Frisco Road, if you know, as you come off of go up Greenville or you come out at 1378. You've got to go a little bit north on Greenville, Highway 5. Then you got to make a left on Frisco Road. Then you got to make on Medical City Drive a right.
Make a right to get to the 121.
121. So one, it's a huge backup, especially at morning and evening rush hours. It's also not safe. I mean, people are taking chances there where they don't need to be. So what has always been on the plan, and McKinney and TxDOT have bought into this, we're going to move Frisco Road south. So where 1378 comes out, Frisco Road, there'll be a 4-way intersection there. And we are actually in the process of engineering, negotiating that with McKinney and the hospital up there too, by the way. And that the way it looks, I'm a little ahead of myself here, but I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. We're going to pull that back, and it's going to be a 4-lane divided road. It's going to be a Fairview road. We will control the whole road. In order for that to happen, there's some land swaps that have to occur. The county owns a little piece of property there. McKinney owns some, and we own some. We're going to have to do some swapping to get it on the right side of the road. And then the hospital, there's discussions going on with the hospital to help fund this.
So that'll be not only, it'll help the hospital, easier to get to the hospital, but also Billingsley's project. It'll tie into that.
Yeah, but even without Billingsley's project, we have to do that because if you keep going north on Highway 5 Greenville, TxDOT has announced they're going to make that a 4-lane divided road. That division will cut off our access to Frisco Road. So if we don't move it, you can't go there. So if you want to get to 121, you're going to have to go down to the intersection and come back. And we don't want to do that. The other thing that's going to happen is to expand on that a little bit. Where Spur 399 is, the concrete bridge that goes off to the east, just south of the cemetery up there.
I'm trying to think of Spur 399. Give me
As you go north, go on Highway 5, before you get to Industrial, There's the old McKinney Cemetery up
Right,
there.
on the right.
Then that nice new bridge that goes off to the
Oh,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
That area there is going to become a major intersection. It is where 380, from 380,
Right.
there's supposed to be a highway. 380 is going to come down there, connect into that spur 399, and there will be a major intersection there where 380, a Highway 5, 75, and 121 come together.
Wow.
And we're talking major intersection.
That's going to change that look.
We're
completely.
talking George Bush, High Five, that kind of stuff. It's going to completely change things.
20
yes.
years out? What do you think?
No, when do they say they're going to do that? It's TxDOT, but and I don't want to disparage TxDOT because again, they don't know when they're going to get funding. But they say they're going to start next year. They're doing surveying now. I've seen the people doing surveying.
Be a good time to buy some property around there.
There's a 13 acres for sale up there on the corner, Tom. If you're interested,
Yeah, well, you and I go in on it.
Let's go.
Okay.
So that's Frisco Road. Frisco Road is again, we're in the midst of that. That's a high priority project for us because we have to get that done before TxDOT blocks our residents' access.
All right.
So does it help with Billingsley and stuff like that? Yeah, but that's not why we're doing
Okay.
it.
All right. I talk about Lucas and Fairview. I live in Lucas. I absolutely love Lucas. It's got a different feel than Fairview. Fairview's got the panache and the sizzle. Lucas is a little bit more country, feels a little bit more country, but these towns are intertwined, and you wouldn't know going from one to the other unless you actually saw a sign where one starts and one stops. But I want to hear I've got my own description of why Fairview's so special. Tell me why you think this is such a kind of a gem in the middle of this growth all around us. What makes Fairview special?
Well, I would say I'm in, again, 29 years here. I'm in my third Fairview house. We've chosen to live here. I could live anywhere I want, and we've chosen to live in Fairview. So a couple things. One is, even though we used to call it keeper country, most of the town still is. And there's more houses there, but there's still 1 acre, acre and a half, 2 acre, 3 acre lots.
You've kept all the commercial on this side of the town.
So I was getting there. So you have a decision was made, my gosh, 70s, maybe before the 70s, that the east side of town was not going to have a sewer system, which prevents high density development no matter what.
Right.
So that keeps it special. We honor our tree ordinances and stuff. We find people. I'd like to make it worse. When people cut down trees and stuff like that, we try to keep traffic out of that side of town. We have the dark skies ordinances and stuff, which I love to look at the sky.
Explain the dark skies.
Dark skies ordinance, basically, there are limits as to lighting powers. You're not supposed to have lights that point up. When you look at the lights at the end of your driveway and stuff, mine used to go out, but there are now, you can get them that go down. So we want lighting to go down to the ground. If you're going to walk, you light the ground where you're going to walk, and you leave the sky light. So there's been quite a bit of work, and we try to honor the work that was done by some of the private residents that did a lot of the work. And so the town tries to honor that. When you get into our more densely populated area on the west side of town, where I live, dark skies still apply. The churches, dark skies applies. The Fairview Town Center, dark skies apply. I mean, it's still light. There's no question about it, but it's not as light and bright as if you go up to McKinney and look at those auto places and stuff.
Right. Exactly.
So when Billingsley builds, they're going to abide by dark skies and all those things.
That'll be
Absolutely.
interesting to see how that develops out.
Well, we can talk about that. So that's one thing, is just to have that special area there over on the eastern 2/3 of the town where it is big lots, big homes, open areas as much as possible. Yeah, people have private property and they do get to build, but they build on big lots. The other things is, we've had an extremely enlightened town council and town staffs. So we are, you've alluded to this several times, we have planned exceedingly well over the years to get things done, where the roads are, how the roads are managed, the fire stations that we have 2 of them, how our police department is run, the size of our staff, which is incredibly
By the
low.
way, for a town of 10,000, not only do they own this building, they've got their own fire department, and whereas Lucas has to rely on the sheriff's department, you have your own police force too.
And EMS. All our firefighters are trained with EMS.
Okay.
So we have very, very highly qualified people and they are just fabulous.
Yeah.
So they've done a really good job in the past to prepare for these things, just like we're trying to prepare for what's going to happen along 75 right now. And then, as a result of that, we have a really low tax rate. And, nobody ever thinks taxes are
They
low
think it's
enough.
high because of Lovejoy schools, but when they start comparing that to McKinney taxes,
Well, the schools are one thing, and the schools have a special problem, and boy, my heart goes out to anybody on a school board right now, because not knowing where they're going to get the money from, the anti-tax groups going against them. Our students, our children need to get the best education that money can buy. And I personally know everybody on the Lovejoy School Board. I know all the Allen people, McKinney people. They work their tail off, and they really do a great job.
and so do the citizens. As far as bringing in, you're going to these charity events and participating, Denim and Diamonds. It's a very cohesive development.
All the school districts have foundations, and Lovejoy has a great one, which I know Vicki really well. So we have a very low tax rate, 0.347. It's not as low as Lucas, but again, as you point out, we have our own fire, police, and EMS, and public works and everything else that we do ourselves.